Wow, actually? Well, it seems to be the case because did you know that Zebec just has had a new partnership? I'm not joking. All Unity has announced that they have partnered up with Zebec to deploy EURAU powered employee benefits and enterprise payment solutions, and it's built on the Stellar network. Wow. That's pretty impressive, right? Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. And people may find it hard to believe that I'm even enthusiastic about this just because the price isn't doing the best. But if I just ignore the price for a second, this is a pretty legendary partnership, in my opinion. Let's just think about this. All Unity, it's pretty massive. Stellar is pretty massive. And Zebec, it's now having its time to kind of shine a little bit, right, in terms of gaining more popularity because it's been having these amazing partnerships as of late that I think is kind of elevating its sort of recognition on a global scale. So I do find this to be pretty impressive. Not to mention as well, if we take a look at this right here, what's pretty impressive about this is that everyone thought that, oh wow, Stellar, they're not going to care about Zebec. It's a random partnership. No one cares about that. They don't even care about it. But again, that's not true, apparently, right? Because for Stellar to do something like this alongside Zebec, and then even Zebec having a partnership with All Unity, we got to consider just the magnitude of that. Again, allegedly, EURAU powered employee benefits and enterprise payment solutions is now available on Stellar. And again, this is a partnership between All Unity and Zebec, and it's actually making use of Stellar in a sense, right? So it's pretty impressive stuff right here. Now, people like to tell me that, oh, it's not going to matter because Zebec's not doing the best as of right now. But we have to consider this could matter because allegedly, even according to the CEO of Zebec, which of course we all know by now is Simon, not to be confused with Simon Cowell from the American Idol, it's a bit different. This is actually Simon, who is the CEO of Zebec, even though he happens to also be based in the United Kingdom, which, Simon Cowell, I think he's from the United Kingdom, right? However, according to Simon, this is pretty impressive because could you imagine, right? Benefit and payroll program on Zebec with Stellar and All Unity. I mean, he even made a post about this. He even said that he's extremely proud to have this achievement, basically, because keep in mind, this is the EU benefit and payroll program on Zebec with Stellar and All Unity. So just as everyone thought that Zebec was kind of done for, they thought it was cooked, it actually happens to be cooking, and it's doing a lot of things behind the scenes, keep in mind. We just saw Zebec come fresh off launching enterprise payroll on Stellar, something that they worked on allegedly alongside Stellar for around 3 months. That's like a massive amount of time within this space. Like 3 months may not sound that long, but for projects within this space that oftentimes, things just move very quickly like that, 3 months is quite a while. And the fact that they even did that alongside Stellar, could you imagine this? Zebec, for what it is, what it's achieving is pretty impressive. It's not a top 100 project. It isn't. Not to mention, the market cap as of right now when it comes to Zebec, it's hovering around 240 million. Not too massive. Not to mention as well, we're talking about a project here which hasn't even really been popular for that long. If we take a look at it logically speaking, what historically is more popular? Zebec or its closest competitor called Onyx? Hands down is Onyx. Really, Onyx historically, it's more well known. Last year, it reached a higher market cap. Onyx last year reached around $1 billion in terms of market cap. Zebec only reached around 540 million, around 550 million basically. So around half of Onyx, right, last year in terms of their respective peaks. So we're talking about a project here which isn't even really that famous, and it already has a partnership with Algorand, with Ripple, with Stellar, and now we're beginning to see that Stellar and Zebec partnership actually have, I guess, a result, right? A lot of people told me in the beginning that, you know what, if Zebec ever even does have a partnership with Stellar, they say that, oh, it's probably just going to be for hype, it's a gimmick, but apparently that's not the case. So we have to consider the strides that Zebec is doing. Or should I say the strides that they're making, because a lot of other projects out there to do stuff like this, they're probably going to wait until the market cap is pretty massive, right? They're going to probably wait until they're top 50 or something like that. But when it comes to Zebec, they're not waiting for that. They're doing it right here, right now in terms of these partnerships. Now, again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but when I take a look at something like this, I find it to be pretty impressive that Zebec even cares about this. And the fact that something like Stellar is willing to work alongside Zebec. something like, for instance, in the case of All Unity, willing to partner up with Zebec, they don't usually want to partner up with things that they don't find to be fundamentally sound. And the reason why is because, entities that are that massive, usually they do a lot of due diligence. Usually they have a team and they're not doing things out on a whim. So when they want to choose something to partner up with, when they want to choose something to kind of, collaborate with, they're going to typically choose the ones that they've done a lot of due diligence for, right? It only makes sense for something as massive as those. They're going to be wanting to partner up with things that are, in line with their vision, their mission, and also in line with their due diligence protocols, right? So when I take a look at Zebec being able to do all that, and then the market cap being not too massive, not even being a top 100 project, it's pretty legendary in my opinion. And also I think something that people don't really consider is that the CEO of Zebec recently met with a team at Google. So let's just let that sink in for a bit, right? Now, I made a more detailed version about that in one of my previous videos, but I feel like in honor of this recent partnership that Zebec has had, which again, I'm showing it on the screen. With this, some people may not consider the maybe hypothetical upcoming partnerships that Zebec may have, right? And if we take a look at it logically, why would the CEO of Zebec want to meet up with the Google team or the team at Google and actually have a discussion? If it isn't for a partnership, then what are they doing, right? I'm hypothetically assuming maybe if there was a partnership, it wouldn't surprise me, or maybe an upcoming one, or maybe they're working on something. Wouldn't surprise me if there's something along those lines. We don't know yet for sure as of right now because, Simon posting the picture of him at the Google office, I mean, I don't really know what really went down when it comes to that, but at the same time, at least he went there. And again, it's pretty impressive, right? So when I take a look at Zebec, I think one thing that is kind of on its side, so to speak, something that's kind of helping it greatly, at least fundamentally, is the fact that Zebec has an aspect of ISO 20022. That's the thing. So the fact that it has that, I think, is greatly helping it secure a lot of these partnerships, because without it, it'd be pretty difficult, in my opinion. And also on top of that, Zebec has an aspect of MICA, also in terms of SOC2. So that, I think, helps it from the compliance side of things. Not to mention as well, Zebec has backers like Coinbase Ventures, OKX Ventures, Solana Ventures, and also Circle. So if we consider all that, it's not really surprising why a project of this size has amazing partnerships. But then oftentimes, it's a little bit surprising to see something of this size have partnerships of this caliber. And I think the reason is because usually projects of this size don't do that. They usually wait until they're much larger. But when it comes to Zebec, again, they're not doing that. But with backers like the ones that they have, it doesn't really surprise me. So when people like to say, oh, Zebec, no one really cares about it. Well, again, I'm assuming that something like Circle, maybe OKX Ventures and all this, maybe they care about it, Solana Ventures, or not, why would they want to back Zebec? But at the same time as well, Zebec having that amazing partnership announcement, wow, it's pretty surprising. So yes, I get it, the market cap is still over 2 times lower than its peak last year, but Zebec is still cooking, in my opinion, behind the scenes. They're still working on things. They're still cooking up that chicken pot pie, that stew, that filet mignon. They're still cooking all that. They're cooking that lobster tail. They're doing all that, right? They're making sushi behind the scenes. They're, making a creme brulee. So again, they're doing things behind the scenes. So I do like that. But again, a partnership with All Unity? Wow. Zebec, they've actually done it. So I'm very impressed when it comes to this, but I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward.